Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Over 1,000 people here. We're really proud of tonight. This is really a celebration of sport in this country. I'd like to make a couple of special mentions. You know, the people in the audience here, we've got the Australian Olympic Committee, Johnny Coates, National Sporting Organisations. You know, there's so many people here at Athletics Australia, Basketball Australia, Tennis Australia. We've got over 100 Sport Australia Hall of Fame members. But just saying before in the other room, when we had all the members together, you know, these people are like herding cats. They're all different. I've never met a world champion that's a normal person. They've got to be screwed up in some manner. So to try and get them even in one line, led by Dawn Fraser and Barassi, and it's just impossible. But at any rate, it happened. So that was a great plus. We have Corporate Australia, very, very well represented here. And even the Rotary Club from Berwick, a whole bunch of kids that have come out of that area, and they're wanting to actually look at their heroes in the flesh. And how cool is that? I'd like to particularly welcome Senator Kate Lundy, Minister of Sport, representing our Patron-in-Chief, Prime Minister Julia Gillard. And to our major sponsor, yes, and what a breath of fresh air that is. And to our major sponsor and presenting partner, Etihad Airways, represented tonight by President and CEO James Hogan. Welcome, James. James has just flown in. And Stephen has announced, but John Wiley, the new chairman of the Australian Sports Commission, and his wife Miriam, and the Honourable Trish Worth, the chair of Drinkwise Australia, and husband Michael Cobb. I'm very pleased to welcome the Victoria University Chancellor, George Pappas, and wife Jill. Australian Sports Commission, Drinkwise Australia and Victoria University are all gold sponsors of the Sport Australia Hall of Fame. We thank them very much for their continued support. As mentioned, tonight is a celebration of sport. Wayne Bennett this week was quoted, "Sport is the glue that holds this country together." Sport is the glue that holds this country together. And how true is that? You know, we're talking about values here. We're talking about kids learning about trust, integrity, looking after each other, concept of sportsmanship, concept of teamwork, winning and losing, with your backs to the wall, young people learning to fight back, all life's lessons, so important. The concept of passion and working with fellow sports people, both men and women and boys and girls. Sport is, in this country, we are lucky that it supersedes church and state. And that, how important is that, and how beneficial is that? So Wayne Bennett was right. Sport is the glue that holds this country together. We have lots to celebrate. The Olympics in London, the Paralympics in London, our national sporting teams, our world champions, the future of our country, our youth. We're going to be talking about the scholarship program. By way of background, the Sport Australia Hall of Fame was established in 1985, and our inaugural inductees were indeed Don Bradman, followed by Herb Elliott and Rod Laver, Betty Cuthbert, Kenny Rosewell, then Ronnie Barassi and Johnny Eales. And with us tonight, we have an Australian living legend, and she has been introduced. But I'd just like to reiterate this. This woman dominated swimming in three Olympics, 56, 60 and 64, the 100-metre freestyle, 4 Olympic gold medals. Ladies and gentlemen, Dawn Fraser. Welcome again, Dawn. Dawn was inducted. She was the inaugural inductee with Sir Don Bradman in 1985. The Hall of Fame represents 200 years of Australian sporting history. We celebrate Australia's sporting history. That's part of our mission statement, you might say. And the second element of the reason for being is that we're in the business of hopefully exciting the next generation of young Australians to achieve their potential, whether it's in sport or indeed in life. And to that end, we spun out a series of scholarships several years ago, the Sport Australia Hall of Fame Scholarship and Mentoring Program. This year we had 17 of our recipients compete at the London Olympics, and they in fact generated 3 silver and a bronze medal. Absolutely fantastic result. These kids are between 14 and 20. There's 3 elements to it. We have financial support for these young men and women. We have air travel donated by Etihad Airways to get them into the various international competitions around the world. And then finally, we have a mentoring program, which is a money can't buy experience. In other words, all the fantastic knowledge from the Sport of Australia Hall of Fame members is potentially available to these young men and women. So, for example, last year, Robert De Castella, Deeks, mentoring Carolyn Buchanan, the World BMX champion and Olympian of this year. And David Parkin, mentoring a young boy from Sudan, a refugee. His name is Timus Harak. He runs like the wind, 400 metres. This kid is the future world champion. Very, very fantastic. I'd like to be a little self-indulgent at this point and single out the sailors. 3 gold and a silver at the Olympic Games propelled Australia to the #1 sailing nation in the world. Well done to Yachting Australia, and with us tonight we have the 470 men's Olympic gold medal team of Matt Belcher and Malcolm Page. Malcolm is the most successful Olympic sailor in the history of the Australian Olympic team, with 2 consecutive gold medals, 7 world championships under his belt. He's now decided to retire from Olympic sailing. And with us also tonight is a man called Victor Kovalenko, the senior coach. They call him the medal maker. He talks about passion and commitment. He talks about the heart more than the mind. A really interesting man. And we invited him down from Sydney to have a look at what we're doing here. He's in the business of exciting young people's imagination to go further, higher and faster. And what a gem we have within the sailing team, and what a potential influence we have in terms of the rest of the Olympic team. Tonight, I'm delighted to announce that we have 2 of Australia's most distinguished citizens joining the Sport Australia Hall of Fame as co-patrons. The former Prime Minister of Australia, Bob Hawke, and former Prime Minister John Howard have accepted positions as co-patrons of the Hall of Fame. These 2 men will sit alongside our patron-in-chief, the Prime Minister of Australia, Julia Gillard. Both are passionate sports lovers, and they have so much to give to this country, and it's just going to be great to work with these guys. I'd like to pay a special tribute to the Sport Australia Hall of Fame board, which was recently strengthened by the addition of Layne Beachley, 7 times world surfing champion. What an interesting young lady she is. Very, very entrepreneurial. And also joined us is the Honourable Rod Kemp, former Minister of Sport. Also the Board of Advisors, we've mentioned before, but Sir Rod Eddington, Don Argus and David Mortimer. Thank you for your wisdom and your counsel. It's very, very special for us and very, very important. And the fantastic staff of Bob Lay, Tanya Sullivan, and our 800 metre specialist, Kelly Hetherington. And she's going online as we speak to the rest of the world as this dinner unfolds. This is the new generation of the internet. I love it. And our selection committee, headed by Deeks, Robert De Castella, and all these fantastic people. You'll see the result of his work during the night.